In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build your second brain using Claude Code and the power of Obsidian. And specifically for my use case, I use Obsidian here to manage different projects. And furthermore, I was able to use Claude Code here as like an AI assistant here to manage my notes. Right here, you can see I have a bunch of Obsidian CLI skills, which will basically help us to create better Obsidian notes. And right here, you can see one of the skills that I created called the onboarding projects, which can help me to take any data source that I have, like Gmails and local files, have Claude Code here to organize, summarize those informations, and store that inside of my Obsidians using the Obsidian skills that I'm going to show you later on in this video. And pretty much you can see that we can use Claude Code here with the power of Obsidian to basically help us to answer any questions, perform any actions on our notes. So with that being said, that's what we're going to cover in this video. If you're interested, let's get into this. Now, before we continue, I recently launched our school community where I help you to master AI agents, automations, and so much more. And that's all coming from someone who used to work as a senior AI software engineer at companies like Amazon and Microsoft. And in this community, you're going to get over 100 plus video materials like templates and workflows that I personally built and sold over 100 plus times. On top of that, you're also going to get access to our weekly live calls. And just to give you an idea, this week, we're actually running a Claude Code masterclass where we're going to dive into how to improve Claude Code's accuracy when we're going to use it to building applications. Plus, you're also going to get full community supports where you're going to get a chance to ask questions and get direct answers back. So if you're ready to level up, make sure to jump right in and I'll see you in a community. Now, because Obsidian here is not free, the free version here doesn't allow you to sync nodes or do the version control. And that's why the first step we're going to do here is basically have Obsidian here to connect it with our GitHub by first creating a repository, and any changes that we're making in our Obsidian notes, we're going to push that onto our GitHub repository. This way, we're going to have a version control and also completely free for cloud storage. So in this case, let's take a look how we can do this first. All right, so to get started, first thing we're going to do here is to make sure to create our GitHub accounts. And simply all we have to do here, just click on new right here to create a new repository. And this will basically going to be a folder. We're going to dump all the data here inside of our repository in GitHub so that we have the right version control. And we can also be able to change the visibility. So here I'm going to change that to be private because I don't want anyone else here to see the brain, because you only want to use this for your cloud storage and version control. So in this case, I'm going to give it a name for the repository, and I'm just going to call it the Eric Tech Brain. And simply once that's done, I will just click on create new repository. And now you can see we have a repository created inside of our GitHub. So once we have a repository now, what we have to do here is we want to make sure to clone this inside of our local machine so that we can be able to add any local files here onto our GitHub for cloud storage and version control. And to do so, if you're really new to terminal and you're not really a developer, I highly recommend you to install GitHub Desktop, where you can be able to manage the entire version control and the cloud storage in a desktop graphical user interface rather than just using the terminal. So for demonstration, I'm just going to download this onto my local machine. Now, once you have your GitHub Desktop app downloaded on your local machine, this is what it looks like. So all we have to do here is just make sure to select the repository that you just created. For example, mine is called the Eric Tech Brain. So there's one called Eric Tech Brain, and we can see that currently it is private. So I'm just going to choose that and be able to clone this onto our local machine. So I'm just going to click on clone, and it's telling you exactly where you can clone this. So you can see that the local file path here is actually inside of documents. But if I want to change that, for example, I want to change that to be in my desktop, I can be able to change that and click on select. And then here, all I have to do here, just click on clone, and it's going to clone that repository here on our desktop folder in our local machine. So now you can see we have the repository clone inside of our desktop folder. The next thing we're going to do here is make sure to have Obsidian installed on our local machine as well. So now if I were to head over to the Obsidian download page, simply all I have to do here is just click on download, and it's going to download this app on our local machine. So I'm going to download this for my Mac version. All right, so now once I have downloaded this on my Mac OS, the next thing we're going to do here is make sure to open a folder as vault. So I'm going to click on open, and then here I'm going to click on desktop. Then we're going to click on the repository that we just cloned and click on open. And then here you can see this is the notebook that we have for our Eric Tech Brain. So now once we have this open, here you can see on the right, this is the entire Eric Tech folder. So anything that we write on the Obsidian, it's going to be reflected inside of this folder. So for example, if I were to create a new note, for example, here you can see this is the note. And right here on the right, you can see we have untitled.md file. So now if I were to type in, for example, Eric Tech, and that's going to be the file name, you can see that has changed reflected right away. And if I were to create a folder in Obsidian, it's going to do the same thing here as well. So that's what I'm going to show you here is basically commit the changes onto our GitHub so that we have a cloud backup. So right here, you can see if I were to open the GitHub desktop app, currently on the left, you can see we have 6 changes on the files. And simply, I'm just going to give the message summary on exactly what are the changes that we have just made. I'm just going to say this is the initial summary. You can see this is the initial commit, and commit this. Then click on push here to basically push that changes onto the remote, which is our GitHub repository. So now if I were to click on the history here, you can see this is the commit that we just committed, and now it has that change. So if I want to revert it back, I can do so. So now if I were to head over to the GitHub repository browser, here you can see this is the Eric Tech Brain, and right here you can see this is my first initial commit. which basically means that we have successfully saved the changes onto our GitHub repository here. Now, obviously making changes and manually have to commit this is going to be really painful. And you might be asking, well, is there any ways that we can be able to automatically commit this onto our GitHub repository? And then the answer here is yes. So now if I would head over to the Obsidian here, all I have to do here, just click on the gear icon. And basically if I were to click on the community plugins and click on the turn on community plugins right here, now we can be able to browse a community plugins. And there's actually a plugin here that can actually help us to automatically commit the changes that we have onto our GitHub repository. So simply all I have to do here, just click on browse. And then the plugin here is called Git. So right here, you can see this is the plugin, which integrates the Git version here with automatically backup and other advanced features. So if I were to click on this right here, you can see you can be able to learn more about this from this open source repository. But simply, if you want to install this, all you have to do is just click on install right here. So right here, you can see the repository here is fully installed, and then simply click on enable. Then we're going to click on options. And right here, you can see there's a feature called auto commit and sync after stopping file edits, which basically means that after we stop editing the files in the Obsidian, it will basically start to commit the changes that we have onto GitHub. So simply, if we were to enable this feature, and all we have to do here, just set an interval on how often should I be able to sync the changes, right? It could be like every minute, right? So after we stop changing or after we stop editing the files in Obsidian, it's going to automatically do that with a set interval. So for example, it could be like 1 minute. So that's what I'm going to set right here. And then furthermore, if we scroll down, there's also a feature called pull on startup, which basically automatically pull the latest changes from Obsidian when it starts. So in this case, I'm just going to enable this. So for example, maybe you're making changes from device 1 and then you want to open your device 2 here to basically sync the changes. This will basically allow you to have that option. So make sure to pull on startup. Okay, so now if I were to test the changes here, if I were to close this, and let's say if I were to make some changes, for example, right? So in this case, I'm going to say example, right? And then be able to give some like words here. And then you can see here that after 1 minute, it has committed 6 files here automatically onto our GitHub page. So now if I were to head over to the version control, you can see that we have vault backup. So this was committed automatically through the Obsidian. And if I were to head over to the repository and just refresh now, you can see we have the example.md file that we just created. And right here, you can see this is the changes that we have. So now let's say if I were to edit something, for example, say hello, and click on commit and click on changes, right? So now you can see we have some additional changes added onto this MD file. So now you can see if I were to restart the Obsidian, it has automatically pulled the changes. Now we can see that we have hello here inside of our notebook. So now once we have our Obsidian notebook set up, the next thing we're going to take a look at is how we can be able to connect it with our large language model like Claude Code. And to make this process easier, we're going to use the Obsidian skill, which basically teach our AI agent here to use all the capabilities that Obsidian has, like the Markdown, Base, JSON, Canvas, all through the Obsidian CLI. And of course, if you want to have your CLI for Obsidian Setup, make sure to head over to your settings for the Obsidian and just click on the general. And here inside of general, there's the advanced, and then we have the command line interface. So make sure to toggle this on. It'll basically allow you to interact Obsidian with CLI. Now, once we have the CLI enabled, the next thing we're going to take a look at is how we can be able to set up the Obsidian skills. So right here, you can see simply if we want to install this, we're just going to copy the commands right here to install this either through the marketplace or the NPX skills. So now once you have this installed, the next thing we're going to take a look at is how we can be able to use that for a practical use case. So what I can do here is I can be able to onboard those data onto Claude Code, and Claude Code here is going to trigger the Obsidian skills that we just installed, and it's going to help us to organize and summarize everything into one single location. So in this case, let me show you exactly how I would do that. All right, so to do so, here you can see I basically create a skill called onboard projects. And essentially what it does here is that it will collect data from my external Gmail, right? Like basically all my emails from a particular project, and also for the internal files, right? Let's say if I have a bunch of project contacts on my local drive, I can also be able to upload that here for this particular skill or any text that I want to paste. It will basically use the existing Obsidian skills, right? Like the Markdown, the Base, the CLI here to create everything. Okay, and this is the entire skill structures. It will basically use some of the scripts that I created here. So like, for example, getting a email label, right? Getting the messages, getting the threads from Gmail, and then be able to fetch those things and download the attachments using this part of the skills here. And it will basically try to output it as the vault here. So you can see it's going to output as a project folder. And here inside of this projects folder here, we have a projects.base, which is basically a table where we keep track of all the projects that we have. And then we also have the project name. So that's basically whatever project like we have, like ABC projects. We're going to have the overview, exactly, okay, what is this project about? And then we also have the conversation log, like, okay, what is the conversation summary, chronological order for all the conversation that we have going on with this project, right? So that we know exactly what's happening. And then we also have the links on exactly, okay, what are some external links? And then we also, most importantly, we have the documentations. So there are some documents that could be like static file, like NDA or agreements or contracts that we need to keep inside of the agreements that cannot be summarized, right? So some files here shouldn't be summarized, some information here should be summarized and condense it down into the conversation log, so that this way it's much more easier for me to juggle multiple projects at the same time. So you can see here that this is the entire 5-step workflow on exactly how this skill does. Right here you can see we first try to create a project. So if the project exists already, we might just want to update or import more data onto that project, and that's it. If it's a new project, we're just gonna create a new project here. And then we also have collecting sources here. So let's say we're going to collect like Gmail, internal, and also the paste text or screenshots. We're also going to collect that as well. And it's going to process and see if it's existing projects, we're going to see if there's any duplicates. And also if it's going to be new projects, we're going to filter out if it's like static file, conversations, references, key details. We're going to put them into the right place. Then furthermore, it's going to auto extract the profile. So extract like the wiki links, the industry, and be able to update the overview.md file. And by the end of it, it's also going to generate a summary on exactly what are the key events for this project, what is the timeline, and also what is the import stats. So then you can see I basically instructed to create that skill, and now we can be able to use it to onboard projects much more faster onto Obsidian. So now if I were to restart my Claude Code session, I should now be able to use this skill called onboard projects. And now if I were to simply trigger this, it should prompt me exactly what should we call this project. So right here you can see it's going to check the current state of our current project folder. And then there's no project exists. What's the name of the project you would like to set up? So for example, I'm just going to call like map B, right? For example, like it doesn't matter which name you're using. You can see it's going to just create the project structures called map B. And here you can see it's going to create the project dashboard, creating the conversation log. And then it also has create the project base, which is how we're going to create the project status for all the projects that we have, right? So far, you can see we have set up these things, right? The overview, the conversation log, links, documents, and also the projects.base, which is the dashboard. And now what we need to do here is we need to be able to input the data source, right? Maybe you have like external like Gmail label, where this label here contains a bunch of emails that you have with these projects. And also if you have like internal files, right? Like PDF, docs, contracts from your local drive, you can be able to upload it here. And also if there's any text you want to paste, any screenshots that the AI here can be able to extract from, we can also be able to paste it here into this particular skill. And it's going to help us to analyze everything and aggregate everything into this project folder structure that we have here. So in this case, I'm first going to upload the internal local file path that I have, as well as the entire Gmail label link on exactly where it contains all the data source. So in this case, I'm just going to enter this and it's going to fetch that automatically for us. Okay, so now you can see all the local files here has been processed. And now for Gmail here, the scripts are not configured because for Gmail label here, we need the credentials. So right here, you can see it tells you exactly how you can get the credentials like Google Cloud Console, enable Gmail API, and also create the OAuth credentials right there. So basically, you're just gonna download the JSON once after you create the OAuth 2 credentials. So if I were to open this, here you can see there's the folder called .gmail credentials. You're just gonna save your credentials here, right here, right? And that's it. And what essentially here you can see from the .env file, it actually referenced this particular folder for the credentials and tokens here to be able to fetch those emails here using those scripts. Okay, so that's exactly how it works. So now you can see everything is all done. And here is what's imported. So we have 5 files here are imported to this particular project for the documents, like the service agreements, the proposal, like the project plans, freelancer brief, all those kind of things, right? And then we also have the Gmail, which is all the emails that we have fetched from the entire thread conversation from December all the way to April, which is in chronological order. And also here you can see this the entire key takeaways for this entire project. So as you can see at the end of it, this is what the project has created. So this is the map B. Obviously, I don't want to show you the project from the client, but here you can see this is the demo projects, which I actually create a clone version of this, but have Claude Code here to basically create kind of like the anonymous version of this project. But you can see that this is the entire overview, right? You can see it has the properties, the overview, and then here you can see we also have the info card on exactly what's the project profile and also the scope. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then the tech stack. And we also have the conversation log. This is going to be the conversation tracking, which tracks the conversation from the initial, like the discovery call, all the way to contract sign, weeks 1 to week 3, and then the live demo, system goes live, scope of expansion and also the phase 1 handoff is being summarized and condensed inside of the conversation log, which you can see here. So you can see that it's really powerful. And if we scroll all the way down, there's also some action item. So respond to clients and deliver phase 2 and phase 3, which we can see here. Okay, so that's exactly how that works. Now, furthermore, we also have the projects.base file, which keeps track of all the status for all the projects that we have. But we can also be able to use Claude Code here, combining with the context that we have in our notebook and be able to craft anything, right? For example, I can be able to craft a response based on the projects that we have. For example, this demo project, can you be able to help me to tell me what the current status of this project is? And can you tell me exactly how I should be able to craft a response, or what are some action items that I need to do? And I can use that as like my brain or second brain here, and using Claude Code here as my assistant, so that now I give Claude Code here the power or the knowledge of what's currently going on with my projects, and have Claude Code here to decide exactly what I need to do. And you can see here that Claude Code here gives me the response. So this is the current status of the demo projects. Phase 1 here is all completed and the final payment is already received. The phase 2 here is authorized. So here is the key context. And then here are some action items. And here you can see craft your response to the clients. So here are some things that we have. So here you can see it says, do you want to craft a actual email response? And honestly, what we can do here is that we can even use the power of Google Workspace CLI. So connect that with Claude Code so that we can have Claude Code here to interact with Google Workspace through the CLI without having me to open the Gmail app here to paste the email that I have to respond. And I think this is a great use case. Obviously, this is my use case. Your case could be like studying, researching, right? You can be able to combine it with the power of Notebook LM here inside of Claude Code. So make sure to check out this video right here, how you can be able to combine the power of Notebook LM here with Claude Code so that you can be able to automate the process for doing research and be able to organize all your knowledge base into one single place. All right, so pretty much that's it for this video. In this video, we went over how we can be able to combine the power of Claude Code and Obsidian here to be your second brain, where Claude Code here is going to basically help you to manage your memories, your notes, and also answer any questions, be able to save it inside of your GitHub here for version control. And also furthermore, you can also be able to use that to ingest any data and be able to query any questions you have. And a lot of those things are all through the Obsidian Skills with the power of Claude Code and Obsidian. So I'll make sure to put every resource that we have mentioned in this video in our school community so you can check it out in our link in the description. And with that being said, if you do find out this video, please make sure to like this video, consider subscribe for more content like this. But with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.